Good evening, teacher. This is my presentation. I am going to talk about types of fractures. Okay. Fractures, uh, avulsion fracture, separation of a small fragment on a bone cortex at the site of a tangent or a ligament of tendon. People at risk. Athletes, footballs, basketball players, runners, martial art fighters, and gymnasts. Bathroom fracture. Fracture of the distal end of the radius into in the first joint. It can affect workers who use an external displacement forces towards the radius, such as mechanics and sportwomen, some and boxers. Bennett fracture. Fracture of a base of the first metacarpal bone running into the carpometacarpal joint complicated by subluxation. Person at risk, athletes such and goalkeepers, basketball players, and mountaineers. Workers such and blacksmiths. Blood or the fracture. Fracture of the orbital floor caused by a sudden incrementation of the intraorbital pressures due to traumatic force. The orbital contents herniate to the maxillary sinus sutad, the interior rectus or interior oblique. Muscle might become intercepted in the fracture site, producing diplopia on looking up. Personal risks. Altitude of persons who resist trauma or people with osteoporosis. Closet fracture. Onde that does not produce an open wall as opposed to the open fracture. See illustration. Kayad, also simple fracture. All types of persons who severe trauma or people with osteoporosis. With osteoporosis. Culls fracture. Fracture of the lower end of the radius, the distal fragment, vein discapacidad, black bar. Personal risks. Workers who exert pressures of the palms. Athletes, source goalkeepers, martial arts fighters of the direct trauma. Comminute fracture. On the width, the bone is depleted, airing or crushed with there or more fragments. Personal risks. People over 16, 4, 8 years old. Complete fracture. R fracture is the which the parts on the bone that have been fractured are complete, separated from each other. People at risk. People with advanced edad, advanced age, and low bone mass. Yeah. Compound fracture. On or both edges of the broken bone pierces the skin, opening the wound to possible infection. Personal risks. All people who have suffered trauma. Compression fracture. A teeth or breaking of a bone caused by pressures and the weight the bone is crushed. A person at risk. People with cancer or osteoporosis. Depressed fracture. When any portion of the external tab of the fracture is below the internal tab of the bone immediately parallel to the cranial detect. Person at risk, the people to travel. Direct fracture. Direct fracture are the truths that occur when the traumatic agents and directly on the fracture point. People at risk, people can suffer this fracture, children and elderly young. Dislocation fracture. Fracture or a bond. Nerve and articulation with cognitive dislocation of that joint. People at risk. All tips of persons who have falls or accidents in vehicles and the persons who performs sport overtraining. Double fracture. Fracture of a bone into a place of parts. People suffering from falls of grains healthings. Duptitrens fracture is an arcane term used for many types of female ankle fractures. Person at risk. People who play sports and people who are overweight. Duberine fracture. Fracture of the ilium just below and the anterior inferior spine. Young patients with the high energy accidents. For example, motorcycles, charts, falls on heights, road crash, etc. Elderly patients with low moderate energy accidents. For example, fall for their own health. Fissure fracture. A crack extended from a surface into a boot or down a long bond. A person of a risk. Track athletes and military recruits for transport heavy packages over long distance are the greatest fears, but anymore can suffer an overload fracture. Granges fracture. One in which one side of a bone is broken and the other is bent, most commonly seen in the children, frequently in the children, person of risk. Impacted fracture. Fracture in the width on the fragment is firm, driving into the other, only people. Incomplete fracture. On the joints not involucrate the complement cross-selection of the bone. People with alcohol of disease. Indirect fracture. On the distance from the site of injury, that always caused by some kind of trauma. Intromittent fracture. Fracture of latent bones incurred in the utero. Pregnant woman, person at risk. Jefferson's fracture. Fracture of the atlas. First cervical vertebra. Person at risk, the eye young old. Lead people fracture. Lead people fracture. On the width, the bone cortex is cycling, compressed, and bulking on one side, wide or slick crack of the other side of the bone. Person at risk people and children with approved falls. Longitudinal fracture. On the extremity along the leading of the bone. Commonly people who have to feel about great health. Oblique fracture. One the width the break extends in oblique direction. People at risk, runners, dancers, tennis players, football players, and long distance sneakers, including military personnel, and more likely to suffer from them. Open fracture. One in the which wall through the Adjunct for wobbly soft tissue communicates with the outside of the body. Persons suffering from a vehicle accident or trauma. Eh, Petrochanety fracture. Fracture of the femur passing through the great trochanter. People at risk, elderly people, uh, or persons that drive a motorcycle. Ping pong fracture. An indented fracture of the sifle replacing the indentation that can be produced with the finger and ping pong ball. People at risk, people who practice tennis or people practice football uh, or basketball. Potis fracture. Fracture of lower part of the fibula with serious injury of the lower tibial articulation. If people who by investment while running of the jumpings is more commotion. Simple factor. Close fracture. Older people are more likely to suffer a fracture due to weakening of their bones over the years. Other actions shows smoking or consuming alcohol can also affect the density or the bones and facilitate their fracture. Spontaneous fracture, pathologic fracture. Patients with bone pathologies would say there skeletal structure weakening. Spine fracture, the separation of a tendon from insertions that within the piece of a bone. Personal risks. Uh, these fractures can the athletes, whether you are footballers, athletes, gymnasts, etc. Scaled fracture. Stellate fracture, on which a central point of injury from which radial numerous fissures. People at risk of the fracture are those who suffer a strong blood to a head hit or asphyxia in traffic accidents. Transcervical fracture on the wall, the knee of the femur. Have duty wealthy fighting and athletes. Transverse fracture on the wrist angles to the axis of the bone. Personal risks, everyone. Topic fracture. On due to nutritional topic disturbance, personal risks are with very bad diet. Uh, I finish, teacher. This is my presentation. Thank you.